topic, no? You know, being a value advisor or an advisor of value. Pero sabi ko, i-highlight natin ng konti under the new normal. Kasi, you know, apparently this new normal will be the real normal. And this new normal will have to translate to our best normal. So, somehow I'll get to qualify that to make sure that, you know, I get an angle in terms of providing value vis-a-vis the signs of the times, to make it really more relevant. No? And I hope we can also take this in a very, you know, informal manner para naman mas madali mong magagrasp, mas madali mong maisa sa isip at maisa sa puso yung nasasabi. No? So again, so I focus on that. I focus on being an advisor of value because I was told all of you are advisors and all of you have clients and you're trying to make a difference, being of value to them. So what can I add on to all the things you have learned? I think you have such a rich program that you just gone through. I mean, you're two batches, but both of you went through the same thing. So at least pinagdaanan nyo na yung pinakamabibigat, no? But I was telling PV, alam mo, parang sa RFP, nilalagay ako ni Randell at saka ni Henry sa dulo eh. When we almost like try to see how the rubber meets the road. You know, it's almost like, okay, so how do we now execute? How do we now implement? Because we've learned a lot from these mentors. We learned a lot from what they've done, from both concepts, theory, principles, and syempre, kailangan i-translate natin yan, ano? Where does the brass tacks start, no? So I always say this, I got this actually from one of our good friends from PAMI, who's now the president of SLAMC, GB Bautista, also a good family friend. Hinahangaan ko din po ang parents ng taong yan. No? So sa kanya galing ito, a tree with strong roots lap at storms. So yung mga talagang grounded, you know, yung alam nila yung gagawin nila. Storms like this are nothing to many of these guys. There are times to thrive, there are times to differentiate, and there are times to make clients and prospects feel that they made a right choice in dealing with them. So I always get to start with step one, laging mindset, laging the right perspective. The right perspective always sets you up, so to speak. It's almost like golf, you know. Some of you play golf. It's how you tee up. It's how you position yourself to make that shot. Everything else falls if you don't know how to tee up. So in terms of getting this career going into this pandemic, what kind of mindset will have to be there? What kind of empowering, you know, perspective has to be there? So it all gets encapsulated in that first question. How long will this last? Diba? See, a lot of people still hope that it's going to be soon that this whole thing ends. I think nung na-announce yung ECQ nung March, I don't think we're expecting 1 month or 2 months, right? Many of us are thinking, what, 2 weeks? Little did we know. I mean, it's like, what, 7 months now and going. If you're expecting for that vaccine to be there, even if it comes out late during this year, early next year, before it hits our shores, siguro po, mga tail end of 2021. And maybe, if we're lucky, we're all out there and we're all doing the old normal back to 2019 levels by 2022. That's pretty long. Di ba? So, if that's the case, if you're ready for that, what should you be doing? I guess that's the question. Lahat po ng karamihan po ng mga nakakausap ko, lagi pa silang nag-iisip that the crisis will end soon. And we've already been in that mode for 7 months. Maybe it's high time for you to think, you know, this can be a given for a long time. So what do you do if it's going to be a given for a long time? Siguro dapat magbago na tayo ng pananaw. No? In fact, my good friend, Brother Bo, just shared this to us over the weekend. Diba? Yung even your prayer na nagsasabing, Lord, hopefully you end this crisis. Mahaba na eh. At mukhang haba pa. So baka probably palitan na natin pati yung dasal na yan. What if we can make a prayer that goes like this? Lord, please prosper me within this crisis so that I can get to help and prosper others. See, pag ganun yung dasal mo, di ba iba? Pag ganun yung dasal mo, iba eh. Ibig sabihin, gagalingan mo even within the crisis. Because you have to prosper within the crisis because there are a lot of other people to help. So I have to do well. I have to optimize. I have to maximize because there are a lot of other people to help. If you're gonna be waiting, Lord, tanggalin mo tong pandemic na to, tanggalin mo yung crisis na to, what are you gonna do from now till then? We're still gonna wait. It's almost like we're elementary school children on a summer vacation. Yun ang nagiging problema eh, di ba? Summer vacation kasi nasa bahay ka, now you're being asked study. Parang may mismatch, right? You know, school children need to go to school to study. When it's summer break and they're in their houses, what do? They play. So that kind of dislocation is what we're as financial advisors. When do we really do the job? Are we gonna wait for things to normalize? Or are we gonna be doing our job today given the circumstances? I guess that's very important, no? Prepare for that long crisis. And guess what? If a vaccine comes out and it gets here like first quarter of next year, fine, then we're all gonna be happy. It's still very good that you're ready for the good times. But again, if it doesn't come, you're also ready to optimize on the bad times. So as a financial advisor, have you taken that kind of a position? So there has to be two things here, the defense and the offense. The defense and the offense have to go together. Are you still taking care of your clients much as you did in the old normal? And are you still prospecting? Are you still in front of people's faces? Whether, you know, obviously hindi na pwedeng face-to-face, but in this kind of platforms, in Zoom, in Viber, in Messenger, in Facebook, are we doing that? So those are the questions that we get to ask ourselves. I always tell people, I mean, not everyone who falls on water drowns. There are people who fall on water, obviously they stay submerged for a while, they drown. But for the people who float, the people who tread water, keep their heads and necks above water, they can breathe, so they can survive. Pero may nahuhulog sa tubig, nagfo-frolic. There are people who jump on the water, swim, have fun. So what can we say about them? They're not survivors. They're thriving. They are thriving. So people who jump on water can either drown, or people who fall on water can either drown, float, or frolic. Are you frolicking or are you simply floating? Alam niyo, hindi ko na nga nilagay dyan yung sinking. Siguro naman, nobody wants to sink. Pero that floating mode is not gonna help. You have to get into that frolic mode. And that frolic mode has to be there if you want to achieve your targets, if you want to surpass them, if you want to like do your very best for your family and loved ones. So I always discuss this as a matter of crisis. You know, when I was with Philam, I did this. When I was with Ali, I did this. I always tell them ABF times 3. ABF times 3. Accept the brutal facts, anticipate a brighter future, act with bold faith. These are the three things that you get to need to do. Accept the brutal facts means no denial. Okay na yan, nandyan yan eh. So anong gagawin mo? Accept it. Kasi alam nyo, happiness and proactivity only happens after you accept. If you don't accept, then it will be a problem. If you're expecting other things, you will always be wanting. Yun ang pinaka-importante. And you know, as I get to do sometimes itong mga relationship counseling and all that, di ba? Yung mga nagre-reklamo dyan na, sir, kasi talaga naman itong mister ko eh. Di ba, dadating sa bahay magtatapon lang ng damit, hindi man lang ishoot sa ropero. Ang tanong dyan, gano'ng katagal niya nang ginagawa yan? Di ba, kung may 10 taon na yan, 3 taon na yan, aasahan mo pa bang magbago yan? Pulutin mo na lang yung damit, ikaw na maglagay sa ropero, di walang away. Di ba? Di ba? Tapos sasabihin ng iba, sir, talaga ito, tindi. Hindi man lang binabalik yung takip ng toothpaste after, you know, getting some toothpaste on his toothbrush, hindi man lang binabalik. Hindi niya na ginagawa yan eh. Tagal niya nang hindi ginagawa. Ikaw na lang magbalik, di walang away, di ba? Accept the brutal facts. Accept the brutal facts. Di ba? Yung iba, wow, sasabihin, sir, talaga naman ito, sobrang bastos eh. Di ba? Bubuksan ng refrigerator, iinom sa pitchel. Mura lang ang pitcher sa Shumart. Bumili ka na lang, ilagay mo ng label. Tapos yun ang iinuman niya. Di hindi kayo umiinom doon sa pitcher na yun. Kanya na lang yun. Ang mura ng solusyon, di ba? Accept the brutal facts. Number 2, anticipate a brighter future. If you're not looking at a brighter future, there's no point being in the situation you're in. There is no point being in the situation you're in. So if you accept a brighter future, you'll have to do something good about it so that when the good times come, then you can actually enjoy it, be greater, and shine. Di ba? Pero between now and then, you have to do your very best. Di ba? Accept it. Diba? Yun ang mga iba sa atin, sinasabihan ko, yan, gigising ka sa umaga, yan ang mukhang kaharap mo. Accept the brutal facts. Huwag ka na mag-ambisyon, ipapang mukhang makakaharap mo dahil magkakasala ka pa niyan, hindi ba? So, think about it. After anticipating a brighter future, you can jump into acting with bold faith. Act with bold faith. And I'm asking you to do that right now. And the way to do that, the way to really act on your faith, or the action points that you need to go through is to focus on your mission. Not the task. Kasi alam nyo, pag yung trabaho, it gets depressing eh. Lalo na ngayon, you cannot do things the way you've done them before. And the situation is so dire, you know that you're not gonna be coming back to the old soon. It can bring you quite some form of anxiety eh. Pero ano ba ang kailangan i-own mo? Kailangan i-own mo yung mission mo eh. Yung mission mo is something that never changes. You might change the way you do things. You might need to do things differently. You might even need to do new things. But your mission stays the same. Diba? So pag inangkin mo yung mission mo na kailangan mong gawin, what's the problem about doing things differently and doing new things? No choice eh. There is always a choice. Diba? You can step forward to the plate and get on with the bat no matter what's happening, whether it's raining or it's shining. So you have to own that mission. Sa'yo yan, so what do you do now? And again, because we are all advisors, we are all advisors that want to hit targets, want to get awards, want to get remuneration and compensation, we're always focused on goals. At a time like this, goals don't hack it. Not enough. Hindi po pwede yung goals eh, kasi nagbago yung situation eh. In fact, you might have to come up with new goals, which I don't exactly agree with. Ang new goals, ibig sabihin mas mataas. Huwag niyong ibababa. Kasi there are people out there who are doing better than last year. These are not essentially, the companies that are, benefiting from the situation. No. There are people in companies who are part of the old normal and still are so much in touch with their customers and clients, and they're still doing very well. Bakit? Kasi hindi lang goals eh. Nagawa nila kagad ng sistema. Alam nyo, I'm just being very frank about this because I think all of you know I'm an investor and I watch the market all the time. Diba? Isipin nyo, Shakey's, ang dali-daling i-deliver ng pizza eh. Dati na nilang dinideliver yan eh. But you know what? During the pandemic, they are one of the last to have adjusted to this kind of a landscape. Hindi ba? Pinakamadali. Mas madali pa sa Jollibee yan eh. Ang di-deliver mo. Pero huli ang Shakey's and that's why it got to their share price. But if you're going to be looking at the other food manufacturers, they have adjusted very fast. Jollibee now even has an app. Sino nag-isip last year na si Jollibee, kukumpitensyahin niya si GrabFood, kukumpitensyahin niya itong si Food Panda? May sarili na siyang app. But that app is not even enough for me. What I like is frozen chicken joy. Oh, sino sa inyo nag-isip na last year o-order kayo ng frozen chicken joy? Can you imagine ordering frozen chicken joy? Next year or 2 years from now, pag nawala na yung pandemic, you think frozen chicken joy will be out of the menu? It will still be there. And guess what the margins will be? Sa'yo kuryente, ikaw nagluto, sa'yo mantika, ano margins nila? See, they adjust it. They create new systems. As salespeople, sometimes we're always focused on destinations. Sometimes we don't focus on the journey. It's in the journey that we need calibration. It's in the journey that we need to make changes, new metrics, new ways of monitoring. So when you say new systems or setting up systems, I'm looking at a different kind of planning, scheduling, and execution. It's almost like, guys, the batting average is going to be low this time, right? Because everyone's wait and see. But we don't have the traffic. We don't have, I mean, you can do 3 or 4 calls a day now without having time as an alibi. Because in a flick of a button, you can be meeting with someone else. Just like that. So having 6 presentations a day today is easier. No excuses. Ang problema, yung paghanap ng 6, di ba? Yun ang problema eh. Being in front of 6 is very easy. Who are the 6? How do you get to them? That's the issue. And that's the reason why planning, scheduling, and execution will be very, very different. You have to set up platforms for consistent delivery. Service systems. How do you now service? It's very different. You cannot ask your secretary to call all the time. You cannot have a messenger to pick it up. How does it end up to be so digital? How do you get down to that and switch to that? One of the key things is to get that empowering daily routine. As I've said earlier, it's how you tee off. It is how you tee off. You know, I tell a lot of people, so anong oras ka nagigising ngayon? Di ba? Normally, wala nang breakfast meeting ngayon eh. Wala nang early morning meetings on agency, on teams. Wala na eh. So anong gising natin? 9? 10? And then we sleep at 2 or 3? Or maybe 1 because we have Netflix? And then it becomes erratic. Minsan maagang gising, minsan hindi. You know, in the old normal, that morning routine was setting you up for productivity. Yung gigising ka, mag-fix up ka, mag-shower ka. Di ba? You have to be on the road as of a certain time. That sets you up eh. It's a routine eh. You know, body language-wise, mentally, you're being set up. And the people in the old normal who've done this very well will have to do this better during the new normal to create that best normal. So wake up at an appropriate time and make it consistent. If you need to be up a little later now, sige, 6:30, 7, but be up 7. Be up 7. When you open your eyes, don't touch your phone immediately. Don't touch your phone immediately. Sit up. Be grateful. Pray. Meditate. Be thankful for a new day, a new morning that you woke up. See, it's very important that we're spiritually strong in this situation. After that, I don't care if it's 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, stretch and exercise. Just stretch. Kung ayaw nyo talagang mag-exercise, magbuno, magbuhat, okay lang. Stretch. 15 minutes. But if you can work with like a Sansone walk program for 30 minutes or maybe, you know, lifting a few weights here and there at that early morning to pump up the adrenaline to get into these hacks regarding this happiness hormones, then do it. But please, set up for work. Hindi rin pwede yung nakapajama ka, nakapambahay ka, yun yung pantrabaho mo eh. No, I ask my people, you know, you have to dress up. I'm so sure you're not dressing up the way you dressed up for the office. I'm not asking you to do that. But I'm asking you not to wear the clothes you wear for bed when you're working. Psychologically, may makeup yan eh. Psychologically, meron niyang effect. So, kahit papano, mag-t-shirt ka na may collar, mag-kwelyo ka, I don't care kung naka-shorts ka, okay lang yan. Pero hindi yan yung ihihiga mo. Diba? Yan din ang suot mo, ihiga ka eh. Wala yan. Within a given day, okay, within a given day, masisira ka. Kasi hindi ka tuned for really working eh. Now, I always say this also, have breaks. May break ka sa umaga, may break ka sa hapon, may lunch break ka. Kahit nasa bahay ka lang, working from home, please do that and manage your social media. Don't check social media every time, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. Before you know it, you're wasting a lot of time there. And especially in the morning, what happens? The hour you lose in the morning, you will always look for the rest of the day. You will always do that. So ako, set forth social media, and let me tell you this, wala akong personal channels. Wala akong personal accounts. No Facebook, no Instagram, no nothing. But I have office accounts, di ba? Si Rapper Financials meron. So yun ang chinecheck ko. But I don't even check them all the time because when you check them all the time, guess what? Then you're gonna scroll, you're gonna look at others. Guess what happens? Sinayang mo na oras mo. But if you just check them twice a day, then your propensity to respond and be distracted will also be less. Now, for the others who will say, paano yun, boss? Ginagamit ko sa trabaho ko yung social media accounts ko eh. Then, promise yourself, you're just gonna stay on with the work. And if there's anything personal there that you're gonna be attending to that, maybe lunchtime or after the day is over. But within the day, always do this. Talk to people. Di ba yan yung sinasabi nating simulating the vital and beneficial of the old normal? Sa old normal, habang nagtatrabaho ka, you can stand up and chit-chat with other people eh. Dapat gawin mo din yun kahit yung kasama mo lang sa bahay, family members. Talk to them. You know, take a little bit of time outside your work area. And I tell people this. Ito pa yung isang napaka-issue ko sa marami. How can you be productive? Minsan nasa dining ka. Minsan nasa living room ka. Minsan nasa kwarto ka. You know, if you're really gonna set yourself up for productivity, you will have to establish a work area. A work area. And I'm not kidding you. I have my own work area. I could have been in our master's bedroom, right? May mesa din naman doon. But the bed is too near. And there's a big screen TV within the room. So masisira yung frame of mind eh. So dapat set up. Eh alam na natin ang mangyayari, di ba? You're always gonna be online. You're always gonna be digital. I'm gonna ask many of you, have you invested in your profession for this best normal? If you have, you're supposed to have a better looking camera system. Hindi pwede yung camera lang ng iPad mo. Hindi pwede yung camera lang ng cellphone mo. Hindi maganda eh. How can you put yourself at a level of professionalism and not above everyone else? If you're like that, invest. Even in your system. You notice the lights? You notice everything? I mean, I can even lift this table. If I'm medyo nangingima yung mga paa ko, I can lift this table. You know, this is like a gift from my daughter, but I have to set this up because, you know, I have to use what these loved ones have given me. Di ba? Pero how do you position yourself if you're just squatting everywhere else? Hindi ka magiging framed or positioned for it. Kailangan nakaset up ka. Ito serious guys di ba? Kung sa mga nakakakilala, I'm so sure some of you know me. Di ba? Nakita nyo na ako. O di ba? Don't I look good here? Walang filter yan Pero maganda yung camera ko kasi kaya nakikinis, di ba? Yung hindi makuha ng palitada dati, kuminis ngayon. So ano sabi ng mga kliyente? Di ba mas gwapo ko ngayon than before? O mas radiant ka, Rex? Ano nangyari sa'yo? Hindi, talaga medyo prosperous tayo under the new normal. If I'm prosperous, would you want me to share prosperity with you? Di ba? Ang ganda ng effect eh. May impact eh. Dahil alam ng tao, maganda pakiramdam mo. Pero kung ikaw, mukhang depressed ka, mukhang haggard ka, may problema tayo. Di ba? So when you look at positioning yourself, very important, make sure you get that routine right. Last thing, but most important, have a quit time in the afternoon or evening. There has to be a time for you to quit the work. Di ba? 5 yan or 6 yan. Done. Then you relax, spend time with family, spend time with your loved ones, try to learn something new. Watch YouTube, watch things that get posted by Marvin Germo, by Randell Tiongson. Learn something. There's so many. Even the international guys like Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, Ivan Carmichael, marami sila. Di ba? Robin Sharma, you know. You can hear them all out now and you don't even have to pay. They're all free. So use all of these times to grow. Because after this whole thing, ang tanong sa sarili natin, did we get better during this phase of our lives? Or things got worse because we just waited for it? Diba? When you look at systems, it's almost like success. Always seen is a very small portion of it. But the real thing that makes it great would be underneath. 80 to 90% you cannot see. So people see the success, people don't see the risk, the goals, the focus, the failure, the persistence, the sacrifice, the hard work. Ganon din sa trabaho eh. People see what happens, people see the events, the patterns. They don't see the underlying structures. They don't see the mental models. They don't see the systems. They don't see what set things up. And when you're setting things up, then you can position yourself to do better than last year. If you want to push for the best normal, you have to gear up for a higher level of proactivity and productivity. As I've mentioned, new processes, new products and services. Okay, you're an insurance guy. Ayaw makinig sa insurance. There are a ton of other products and services. You will have to know what they are so that you can start a conversation. You know, I don't know if people here are from like Manulife, from Sun Life, you know. You have a mutual fund company, you have a trust company. You can have loss leaders. Think about investments and think about bagging a client. Don't think about earning at the start. Get yourself into a strategy to build up trust and confidence, and after that, you will get the product you want to sell. You will get to the product that you want to sell. But the key to this is to make sure that you have the unpredictability. Kasi pag lagi kang insurance lang, may problema din tayo doon. Di ba? Iiwasan ka eh. Now, I'm not gonna say that's real for everyone. No. There are guys who really want to listen to the insurance conversation. So be it. But the thing is, you will have to know how to maneuver. Some of you are in real estate. Fine. If you're in real estate, how do you start it with things that are happening? See, you have to expand what you know. There have to be adequate tools. New job and skills related training. I was just with a group of financial advisors. I was asking them, di ba? People were talking about probing. People were talking about questioning skills. Do you really know how to frame questions? Maybe this is a good time to learn how to really effectively probe. So the skills based of listening and driving the right questions can be a skill that can be developed during these times. During the time when we can be home with all of these openness to training systems that we don't even have to pay for. We have to dig deep for results and contribution. So I do this with my team. I have individual activity and targets. I have daily activity reporting. And right now, because of motivation, we don't wait. If someone does a great thing at any given day, we recognize him. We let other people know. We make people feel good about the achievements and the milestones they hit. We don't wait for a quarterly, we don't wait for a monthly recognition. We have to do it in real time because this is a very different situation. We need to acknowledge people and the right things they do immediately. Always remember this, money, compensation is always a function of value. The way you're gonna be paid, your compensation is always going to be a direct function of the value of your service to others. If you keep that value up, you won't have to run after the money. Money will be running after you. So think about transforming your business, transforming your profession. How do I increase the level of service? How do I increase my level of value? Siguro para marami sa atin, tanungin nyo sarili nyo. Yung kliyente nagtatanong ng dollar exchange rate, ikaw ba ang tatanungin o yung branch manager ng bangko? Aakyat ba o bababa ang exchange rate? Ikaw ang tatanungin o yung branch manager ng bangko? Next may no-offer na lupa yung kaibigan ko, okay ba to o hindi? Ako ba ang tatanungin? O ibang real estate broker? If you're not top of mind to your prospect and to your client, you're not gonna be one of the first who will get that conversation going. So kailangan, transform mo yung sarili mo. Kailangan mag-adapt ka ngayon. And this is something that Darwin has practically announced to the entire world. Diba? Sinabi naman niya yan eh. Ang nagsusurvive is not the strongest. Ang nagsusurvive yung pinakamagaling mag-adapt. Pinakamagaling mag-adapt. If the strongest are the best, then the dinosaurs will still be here. The raptors, the T-Rexes, right? Yan yung pinakamalalakas eh. Ubit patay na lahat. Eh yung cockroach, millions of years, buhay pa hanggang ngayon. Is it because they're the strongest? No. It's because they're the best in adaptation. Ganon din tayo as financial advisors. You want to provide value? You have to adapt. You have to expand what you know. You have to be at the forefront of everything that they can ask. So, and I'm not batting an eyelash on this one. You know, my daughter is part of your group. I always tell her, PV, I know you're skewed towards real estate, but it doesn't mean you only know real estate. Why? Because people invest money in real estate. Invest. They don't simply buy real estate, they invest in real estate. So you have to know how to compare real estate as an investment with other investment instruments. So you don't stop knowing real estate. You have to know mutual funds, you have to know stocks, you have to know bonds, you have to know money supply, you have to know interest rates, you have to know inflation. You have to know all of these things. You have to keep abreast para ikaw ang tanungin. Pag ikaw ang tinatanong, lamang ka na. Yun ang problema natin eh. Hihingi pa tayo ng appointment. Eh yung branch manager ng bangko tinatanong eh, di ba? Kaya naman sila binigyan ng BSE sa tabi nila. O yung BSE ngayon na magbebenta ng insurance, eh, alam nila yung magkanong pera eh. So, we are, going to be Jurassic if we don't adapt today. If, you don't have that kind of value, I will tell you, dalawa po ang papatay sa inyo. It's going to be bank assurance or any platform that's actually competing with the traditional sales ecosystems within the economy. And the other is obviously digital and online. If I can do it myself, if I can do it without asking you, if I can do it without your service, why will I have to go through you? Yun ang kailangan tanungin natin sa sarili natin. Why do I have to go through you? If I don't have to go through you, I won't. I will not do that. Diba? So kailangan isipin natin paano. So you keep playing, you keep praying. Sabi nga nila, the people who will never miss the opportunity to dance are those guys on the dance floor. Yung nasa dance floor, yun ang madaling sumayaw dahil nandun na eh. Pag ikaw naghihintay ka pa, wala ka pa sa dance floor, di ka pa nag-uumpisa, when are you gonna be there when people ask you, naghihintay ka pa ng old normal, wala na pong mangyayari. May iiwan ka. So you keep in touch with your clients, your prospects, bombard them with all the updates, whether it's market, public health, general economy, forward information that you get. And update them about your products and your performance. Alam niyo po, ito nakakatuwa. Minsan, tinatanong ako ng ibang mga agents, Sir, yan ba pwede kong i-share pa rin sa mga client? Kasi lugin-lugi sila eh. Pag sinishare ko, lugin-lugi sila. Lalo silang natatakot, lalo pong magsusurrender. Lalo nilang, i-redeem pag lugi sila. Can you just imagine what goes into the head of your client when you're not around and you're not even telling them that? Such a letdown, right? Because ikaw ang inaasahan nila eh. So if you're gonna be playing offense, then that will be your best defense. In rugby, we have this to the T. And one of the people who always gets admired for doing this, and Randell knows her, Jung Fernando. Si Jung update yan ng update. Update ng update. And then she has she has a very nice way of putting it, di ba? Kasi bagsak ang market. I-update kita, bebentahan kita. Bebentahan kita, hindi ako matatakot, bebentahan kita. So ano mangyayari? Pag hinindihan mo ko, hindi mo na iisipin na i-redeem mo yung nandyan na. Hindi ba? Kasi pag wala ako, ang nasa utak mo what? Redeem or hold? Pero pag nag-present sa'yo si Jung, ano sasabihin niya sa'yo? Buy. Pag takot ka, hindi ka bibili. Pero hold ka. Hindi mo na maiisip yung redemption. Di ba? In a crisis situation, it's almost like shooting the eagle, hindi ba? You aim for the sky, you hit the eagle. You aim for the eagle, you hit the ground. Ganon yung sistema. So don't be scared to hold the hand of your client. And ako, very important po sa akin ito eh. Pag tinatanong ng kliyente, lugi-lugi na ako, Rex eh. Ang simple po ng sagot ko dyan eh. Mas malaki kaya lugi ko sa'yo. Bakit ako hindi kinakabahan? You know, I can even say this for a ton of my clients. That I can probably be losing more than 5 to 10 times what they're losing. But I'm not worried. Because I know when this comes to pass, then we're not going to be discussing things the same way. And I'm still continuing to invest up till this very day. I take positions every day. I evaluate options every day. So kailangan po nandun eh. Kailangan shift the discussion towards opportunities. Think about this. There is low business and consumer confidence level all around you. All the studies show it. But this is very, very enlightening. Alam nyo ba, yung lahat ng surveys, ng Kantar, ng Nielsen, alam nyo yung pinapakita? That people have their financial situation as their top of mind. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, ako ang unang iniisip ko, health, security. Yan ang top of mind. Hindi po. For the Filipino, ang top of mind is my financial situation. So when I'm thinking my financial situation, nasan yung financial advisor ko? Hindi ba? Yun ang top of mind niya eh. Pag nawawala yung financial advisor ko, sinong lalapitan ko? Lalapitan ko? My branch manager from the bank. Lalapitan ko? Maybe. Are articles from Google that I will surf. Di ba? So mawawala ka sa usapan. So might as well be at the forefront of it. And when you get to ask all of them, they are optimistic 12 months moving forward. Pilipino po tayo. Pilipino laging optimistic moving forward. So everyone looks at 2021 to be better than 2020. So if that's the kind of opportunistic mindset, aren't you supposed to somehow latch on that and position him for that opportunity, for that optimism to pay off? So yun po yung idea, di ba? So I tell a lot of people, much of the strength also is coming from the emotion. We are in an emotional ball game. We are in a very emotional profession. It's how we manage our emotion that will make us manage our success, manage our future. So I tell a lot of people, be grateful. And this I picked up from Brother Bo. Si Brother Bo, simple. Sabi nga, magsulat ka ng 100 blessings. The smaller, the better. Why? Because the smaller things are those that you take for granted. If you have a lot of all of these blessings that you're grateful for, guess what happens? Your thankfulness will give you more things to be thankful for. And it's a cycle. So live in the present moment. Don't live at the past. Don't live at the future. Live in the present moment. What do you do now? How do you take advantage of our situation today? Sabi ko nga the whole industry, financial services, is down. But much of that is self-fulfilling prophecies. Self-fulfilling prophecy yan ng financial advisors na ang activity level ng 2019 mataas, tas ngayon mababa. So the whole industry is low, not because of the clients, but also because of the financial advisors who are not as active at this time. And why? financial goals remain to be the same. People still want to fulfill their, wealth management destinies. Bakit ganun? Bakit mawawala tayo? Diba? So very important po na we are thankful and we have to be there at the middle of the battle. And lastly, generosity. Generosity. We have to give. That sense of abundance, kasi pag ikaw ang nagbibigay, abundant ka. Diba? Pag nagbibigay ka, abundant ka. So, if you're abundant and you're feeling abundant, guess what happens? You'll become more abundant. When you're giving to others, when you're doing this in a big-hearted way, guess what happens? You're always going to be blessed as well. It's always a cycle. We can never outgive God. We never outgive God. So that generosity, I don't care where it will be coming from. I don't care how it will come true, but it will happen. I'm always very confident of that. And aside from material things, all the material help, I think we also need to be an emotional support for a lot of people, for those in despair. We have to be there. We have to, be that shoulder to cry on. We have to be that foundation of strength for many people so that they will be more confident when they are around us. So very important po na maisip natin na tayo yung kanilang sandalan. And if that happens, can you just imagine what kind of financial advisor you will be? What kind of value you will be having to people? Diba? I end with this as I want to highlight this for a lot of people. It is when the night is darkest that the stars shine brightest. The stars will always shine. But their luster, yung kinang nila pinakamatindi pag madilim ang gabi. So if all of you are stars, then you should be shining these days. You should be shining your best because the nights are darkest. So I tell a lot of people, if I'm doing so much at a time like this, can you just imagine what I will do when the good times come? Can you imagine that? If I'm doing things at this level, what will happen when the good times come? I think you've seen my face plastered on several posters. I do a lot of these events. Yan, kami nila Randell, kami nila Marvin. Hindi naman po humihinto lahat yan eh. Di ba? Mas lalo pa nga dumami. Pero, ang point doon, when you're keeping that activity going, then the opportunities just don't stop. The opportunities just don't stop. And I invite many of you. As I've said, puro po Netflix eh. Sabi namin, minsan Rexflix naman. So, I tell a lot of people, we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that channel. Look at what we have there. We discuss a lot of topics. We help out. In fact, I can even tell you, some of you are into this blank wall with some clients. Alam niyo po minsan, i-forward nyo lang yung ibang video galing dyan. Yung mga BUL versus BTID, yung mga life insurance, is it the worst investment ever? I-link nyo lang sila, ipadala nyo, and let them watch it. When they get to watch it, they will get to see you as a very different intermediary within this landscape. Kasi sa'yo nang galing eh. Kasi yung iba yung worry, paano yung Rex, baka maagaw ng Ramper Financials yung client. Client mo yan eh. Ikaw ang nag-forward, di ba? So syempre, ikaw ang tatanungin niya. Can you just imagine what will happen kung hindi ikaw ang nag-forward tas nakita niya yan galing sa iba? So why will he go through you? He will never go through you. So make sure everything goes through you. Subscribe to these channels and forward them links that they can learn from. And in the end, if they get enlightened, they will ask you to move things forward. I even did a video on, 1,000 pesos multi-asset diversified fund, $1,000, Sun Life Voyager, yung mga ganun. Pampakiliti lang po yun eh. Hindi naman ibig sabihin yun ng kailangan hindi ibig sabihin na doon sila kailangan mag-invest. Magigising lang sila sa katotohanan na kailangan pa rin sila mag-invest. And in the end, those were just simply examples. Those were just meant to excite them, to tell them that amidst all of these things that are happening, life goes on. And in the end, ang ayaw natin mangyari, 2012, 2013. Ano na naman ang iisipin ng mga clients natin? Sayang dapat nag-invest pala ako noong 2008. Kung may babalik lang yung crisis, sana nag-invest ako. O yung ngayon, yung mga nakamiss ng 2008, nandito na ngayon ng 2020. If they don't ride this crest, guess what happens in 2024 to 2025? What are they gonna think? Sayang, sana nag-invest ako noong 2020. Ganun lang naman yan eh. So as financial advisors, I want you to be out there. I want you to be active because only two things can happen. One, they believe you and they buy from you, which is great. Two, they listen to you, but they don't do anything. They just don't follow your recommendation. It's fine. Guess what happens in 2 to 3 years? When this market changes for the better in 2 to 3 years, what will they think? Sana pala nakinig ako sa kanya. Sana pala sinunod ko yung kanyang conviction at recommendation. Guess what will happen at that time? Pwede mo pa silang balikan, pwede mo na naman silang kausapin. They're genius ka eh. Nilapitan mo sila eh. Di ba? So, think about it. Everything boils down to your activity. Everything boils down to what you need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I always end my slides with this. As Randell mentioned, there are very special people in my life. And these very special people are people that I treasure. They're the source of my motivation, source of my inspiration. That's why I'm never wanting. I'd always like to be able to say that, what I do for them. And that's the reason why maybe that's the reason why we are blessed. It's because we get to do the right things. Okay? So, yan po ang message ko sa inyo. Anchor everything that you do on what truly matters or who truly matters to you. And I guess all the milestones and all the achievements, they will just be there within your reach. So, I guess I'd go now to a question and answer program. Randell, thank you so much for this opportunity. Maraming salamat po uli sa inyong lahat, and I hope I made sense. I hope I made a difference, and I hope I was able to contribute to this great program of yours.
So Rex, we're gonna, if you okay ka ba to ask ka to few questions?
Yeah, of course. My honor.
Boss Rex ngayon. So, ang dami daw learnings. Going through the chat, dami daw learnings ngayon. So, if you have any questions, use the chat function. There's over 160 of us here now listening. Randell's asking, I mean, aside from experience, how were you able to do this so well now, speaking and talking?
It's always a matter of practice. I guess the reason why the Randells of the world, the Marvins of the world can do it, it's because they've done it for 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So siguro nga, minsan kahit nga walang audience kaya-kaya mo nang gawin yan, di ba? Parang sometimes we even probably talk in our sleep Parang but let's face it, syempre pag nag-uumpisa, nandyan yung kaba, nandyan yung, sabi nga nila, butterflies in your stomach. Di ba?
Yeah.
Alam nyo, hindi nawawala yon. Sabi ko sa marami, I have butterflies in my stomach. It's just that I can make them fly in formation very quickly. Di ba? So ano nangyayari? Kailangan lang hasain nyo yung sarili nyo. What did I do? Actually, one of the reasons why I taught in MBA school is because of that. Nagturo. Di ba? Kasi ibang-iba rin po yung lagi kayong nakaharap sa tao, you're making a presentation. I don't know if you have a team and you put yourself in front of your team. Alam niyo ba nakakatuwa? Sa Ramper Financials, meron kami every Wednesday. We have what we call a Wednesday forum. Ito walang biro from the messenger to the president, kailangan mag-present ng something of personal interest. So kung ano man yun, whether it's cooking, whether it's, ito nga yung BTS na ni-research nung isa namin patay na patay sa BTS, nag-present siya, may slides din siya. So lahat po hinahasa namin. So it's really a matter of practice. I think
So,
that's
ito,
the
we
answer.
have a question from MJ. Obviously, nakarinig to ng mga talk mo. Sir Rex, did you cry or had teary-eyed inside your Ferrari when the market went down? Or Maserati?
Hindi. Hindi, alam nyo, ano na yan? Parang, but there's really a joke that goes, di ba, yung parang nakakatulog ka ba? Are you able to sleep well at night with the things that happened? You know, syempre, ang laki-laki ng portfolio natin. Hindi naman pwedeng, alam nyo, yung wish thinking na I could have sold everything and I could have bought it back. Hindi naman talaga totoo yun, di ba? Punish yourself for something that cannot be realistic, di ba? Lagi ka naman naka-invest eh. So at any point in time, I have an investment base in the market. So pag bumaba yung market, talagang tatamaan yan. Pero pag umakyat yung market, di ba babalik din yan? So kailangan isipin natin, walang wishful thinking. So dapat, di ba? Okay na wala eh, di ba? Pag bumawi.
Actually, stress mo lang sarili mo doon eh.
Pero nakakatawa ganito, may biro ako. You know, I sleep soundly. I sleep like a baby. Talaga, you sleep like a baby. Oh, yung tulog ako, tapos 1.5 hours, gigising ako, iiyak ako. Tapos tulog ako ulit, tapos gigising ako, 1.5 hours, iiyak uli ako. Di ba ganun ang baby?
Question na, what are the titles of the books? Can this be ordered now online? JP Cruz is asking.
Yeah, it's now available in Books online. It's Trailblazing Success and Firing on All Cylinders. Now, alam niyo po, importante, lalo na yung second, no? Especially for advisors, kasi that's where I discussed agency entrepreneurship. Eh. Kasi one of the most important aspects of our profession that many people still don't grasp is the fact that an agent is an entrepreneur. Ang nangyayari kasi, di ba, ang minsan ang iniisip ng advisor, sideline, it's an extra source of income. Hindi ka lilipad pag ganun. Kailangan isipin mo, this is a business. This profession is a business. So, my agency experience is an entrepreneurial experience. It was an entrepreneurial venture and journey. So, doon sa tinatawag na libro na Trailblazing Success, yun, inano ko, like, you can actually firing on all cylinders and making sure you do well in all aspects of business that you get into.
Highly recommended books.
Yan sa ano.
Copy. If they're also in national bookstore, just in case you want to go. But if there's online, Books, no, you can take a look at it.
Yeah,
so, Mr.
Books.
Mendoza, what are the ano bang biggest financial mistake nyo? Yan. Akala nila yung mga kamukha ni Rex, di nagkakamali eh, no?
Naku, mabigat ang mali ko dyan sa mga yan. I don't know if you watched this clip ni Jung on our YouTube channel. She talked about yung lagi ka bang nauutangan. Yung ano yan, it's how to handle people who borrow money from you. You know, I cannot help it. I really responded to her and I said, galing nung topic mo, Jung, kasi yan ang pinaka-worst mistake ko sa lahat ng investments ko. Kasi, you know, when you have friends, sometimes relatives who go to you, present a certain idea, present a certain tapos, syempre hindi mo maalis, uutangan ka, and ito ka naman, syempre, maniniwala ka din doon sa sinasabi nila. Alam mo, yun ang ko. And when I'm saying it's my failure, worse than my stock investments. No? Kasi alam mo, yung stock investment, hindi nagzi-zero eh.
At saka akit din, nabawi din.
Yung utang, pag pinabayaran, wala na eh. Ang mahirap dito, alam nyo, lagi ko to sinasabi, ang Pilipinas lang, ang lugar sa buong mundo. Ikaw na nagpautang, ikaw pa nahihiyang maningil eh.
Yeah.
Diba? So, ikaw pa mahihiya.
Pero boss, Rex, you also have some
I lost millions.
But you also have great ideas, people coming to you with a solid business idea, and then you join, and some of them turn out to be a good one as well.
Oh yeah. Maganda naman. Well, yun namang mga iba, walang problema dahil equity ako eh. So pag equity ako, kahit malugi yan, okay lang sa akin eh. Pero yung iba yung uutangan ka, so hindi ka equity. Hiniraman ka, sasabihin nila, ibabalik nila, di ba kailangan lang nila ng konting puhunan for the expansion, they're doing very well, tapos biglang hindi mo na maririnig, tapos wala na. Yung equity kasi, syempre, I get to sit on the board, at least alam ko yung nangyayari.
May stake ka.
Talagang worst kong investments are the loans.
Okay.
You know?
It's a age-old issue sa mga agencies. So Sir Rex, ano pa ba maganda sabihin sa client na kumuha ng plano pero gusto pa humati sa agent's commission? Classic! This is so classic.
Classic yan. Ako talaga.
Ganyan pa ba hanggang ngayon?
Again, for me, it's how you get to present yourself. Kasi ako, in all honesty, in the olden days, nung bata tayo, Randell, alam mo, nahihingan ka, di ba? Let's face it. Pero syempre, you have to be able to stand your ground. Kasi kikitain mo yan eh. Ako, I tell my clients, don't worry about this. You don't have to ask it from me because I will give you that kind of value. And I can even claim to them na pag dumating ang araw, like let's say in 3 to 5 years, if you feel that I haven't given you that kind of value, dun ko ibabalik ang pera mo. So you have to make sure that you also put your foot down in the service that you'd want to be able to give.
Ano to eh, once you start it, it's like opening a Pandora's box na dire-diretso to, no? Hindi
can of worms yan, can of worms.
Oo, tapos baka magkaroon ka pa ng si nagre-debate yan. So everybody, so your future businesses na you put it in the jeopardy. Just to share, I'm not passing any judgment. I have sold hundreds of policies in my selling years, never even single one, never even rebated, even to family members. And later on, they realized, no, now my sister is now selling. She understood that. So the downside is when I buy, I can't get anything from her also. But that's the way it is. So sa akin, panindigan nyo yan para, di ba? Kasi pinitrabahuan nyo yan eh. Rex, you have a question.
Again, Randall, just to add to that, kasi nasa dating mo din, di ba? Pag financial advisor ka, fully equipped ka, you know what you're doing. Tapos, yun nga, sabi ko nga, with all the symbols of success around you. Di ba? Para kunyari, siyempre, kita nila ang pananamit mo, kita nila ang gamit mo, sa akin, kita nila relo ko, di ba? Mahihiya kang humingi ng rebate eh. Kasi, di ba, parang I am worth what I'm being paid eh. And I'm really trying to earn it every step of the way. So, kailangan alam natin yan. So, pag hindi mo pinanindigan yan, babalik at babalikan yan.
Okay. So, can you share daw si Gerald, no, Raura? Because yung masterclass, iba-iba yung may bago, may papasok pa lang, meron ng matagal na sa industry. Kindly share to us your principles on prospecting and how to be effective of this. What is your advice for advisors who want to serve the high net worth market but does not have the connections? May sagot ako dyan, but Boss Rex, please.
Sa akin, it's really a struggle at the start, but you have to start somewhere. Diba? Ako, all it takes is one high net worth client. Basta, tira ka ng tira, huwag ka mahihiya na high net worth sila, hindi ka ready or hindi ka high net worth. Sometimes all of these fallacies are just in your head eh. Na, hindi ito magdi-deal with me dahil I'm just starting. Hindi ito magdi-deal with me dahil I'm not experienced. So, nasa utak mo lang yon. Ang point ko lang sa'yo, sige, tirahin mo ng tirahin and then all it takes is one sale. So, when you make that one sale, guess what happens? Then you're gonna be more confident with others. So, mawawala na yung cobweb sa utak mo. Second, that person you sold to can start your hub and spoke. Ika nga, dyan ka nahihingi ng... Kasi sa akin, ang high net worth ko, Randell, karamihan, referral talaga eh. Hindi mo sila pwedeng makuha ng basta-basta. So, ang nangyayari sa akin, referral business and being with the high net worth where they are. So, namumuhunan ako, being in this civic associations, being in this charitable institution. I'm not doing that to get clients. But it's natural since I'm already there and they know me, they ask me. So, hindi ako namomrospect. Magkaiba yun. Hindi ako namomrospect. Pero, eventually, I get prospects there. So, parang ganun. Kailangan lang umpisahan mo.
Okay, very good. And while you're building your high net worth, there's no, alam mo, malaki din yung middle market, no? Yun yung sinasabi ko eh. A lot of the advisors, parang ang target nila is they will only be successful if they tap the high net worth market. And I think a lot of people are making a mistake that a lot of the very, very successful people in the agencies, it's not because they have a very high net worth profile, it's because they have the volume. So you have to create a strategy that will work for you. Again, the best way is having both, no? The middle market, the upper market, and eventually you will build kung ano man yung nag-work para sa'yo. Okay.
Dadating talaga yan, dadating yan. Again, yung ginamit kong example kanina, no, si Jung Fernando. Alam mo naman yung pinag-umpisa ni Jung Randell, no? Much like you, she started fresh out of college. Hindi siya natulungan ng dad niya. Yung dad niya, member ng PMAP yan, pero ni isang introduction, walang binigay sa kanya. So she really had to struggle. Pero ngayon, look at where Jung is right now. The kind of high net worth clients that she has. The kind of, naka-Lexus, nakabili ng bahay for her parents. Bakit? Kasi talagang talagang methodical, talagang continuous lang. And then, once you get their trust and confidence, tuloy-tuloy yan. Tuloy-tuloy na yan.
Huwag mainip. It's something that you don't do overnight. Janet has a nice story, no, about eventually, I like, just to summarize, no, ang maganda lang sa trabaho nyo, you can choose who your clients are, ultimately. If it comes to a point that it goes against your values and everything, you can always say no. You can always stay away from a client. You can always move on to another client. That's the beauty of being an advisor, no? You can choose. You can fire a client. If your client, alam mo yun, iniinsulto ka na, yung value system mo, it's your choice. It's your choice, di ba? You can always make that decision for you. Yun ang maganda sa atin. And sabi ni MJ, if you cannot trust me on the little things, you cannot trust me on greater things. So please, give me the dignity to earn, or you can get from other advisors. May ganun talaga because may mga practices din sa industry na hindi tama, and eventually, it's gonna eat you up. Share ko lang, many years ago during my selling years in the 90s. Pag sinabi ko in the 90s, natatawa sila no? In the 90s. Pero younger ako kay Rex I had to say it, I had to insert it. And Dodong. Slightly lang naman. Pero mauna ako maging lolo. Anyway, so I was talking to him, and then I remember there was an awarding. Parang yung award ko gold, yung award niya platinum, parang ganon. And then he went up to me and sabi niya, Randell, blow out mo naman ako, gold ka. Sabi ko, bakit kita ipo-blow out, gold ka? Ikaw nga ang platinum, di ba baliktad? Alam mo naman, lahat ng benta ko puro rebate. Ikaw mas kumita sa akin. You know what? That's a funny joke, but the realization, what are you in business for if you're gonna do that? Diba? So you have to make that decision, and suggestion ko early on your careers, make that decision and stick by it. So far, yung mga kilala kong who stuck by it and they're all doing well today. Yung mga kilala ko na bumigay sa ganyan, a lot of them have left the industry. Bakit? Hindi na sustainable yung negosyo nila. So this is a decision that you have to make.
All it takes is once, and later at pagbibigyan mo. Yeah. It's so easy for you to give it up.
Wow. Oh, guys, any questions? Patuloy nyo na yung questions nyo. We're gonna ask all of it. Maybe you can take in one more or two more questions for Rex Mendoza. So, you're gonna share the slides also, no? So, thanks daw Sir Rex. Sabi ni Rina Lee Chu. Ayan, no? Mga veterans na to, sila Rina Lee Chu, no? Parang mga mami naman pala na yon. Okay. Kapatid ni David yan, Rex. Okay.
Yeah. Inaanak ko yung yung kapatid niya si Christine.
Yan, si Lee Chu, the fabulous Lee Chu siblings. Okay. Yeah. So, yan, they're all here. So some of them, they know you. So, okay. Maganda to. Elevator pitch for a VUL.
Elevator pitch for a VUL.
Madali yan, yung biglaan na lang.
Kasi you just have to ako wala akong particular elevator pitch for a product. I have an elevator pitch for myself. It's almost like, my job is to get you the opportunities that will make you realize your dreams, so make you realize your future prosperity and stability. So parang ganun. Pero siguro if it's an elevator pitch for VUL, it's the fact that it's protection and investment. It's quite a combination, formidable combination.
Yeah.
Well, I guess sa mga purist po, syempre pupulaan tayo. May DIY dyan, may BTID. Pero again, lagi kong sinasabi, there is no perfect product for everyone. Talagang may babagayan at babagayan yan.
Rex, sundot ako dito, no? It's always been a hot topic. The BTID issue. An advisor, how should they explain it? What to say? Kasi di ba, mga sikat na tao, BTID sinasabi and so forth and so on. What were your thoughts on that? The BTID being
Ako being the president, no, of a life insurance company, I know the statistics, Randell, eh. I really know. So I tell a lot of people, wala akong disdain for BTID. I really think, hindi ako nagdi-disagree. It's the best. It's the best. 'Di ba? Most cost efficient, 'di ba? And in terms of performance, eventually it will do better. Walang discussion doon. Pero the point is this, ano experience? Ano experience? Gaano karaming term insurance ang naglalapse? Gaano karami? Di ba? Ang dami niyan. Okay? Second, yung ba talagang nagbi-BTID? Talaga bang ini-invest nila lahat ng perang sinabi nilang i-invest nila? Di ba? Alam mo, ang totoo hindi. Yung nagba-buy term invest na difference, hindi naman nakakapag-invest na difference eh. So eventually, anong pinag-uusapan natin? Years from now, that poor guy might not have the coverage, might not even have the investment to fulfill his dreams. So he loses on both ends. So lagi kong sinasabi, alam mo I got this from, I don't know if you guys still remember, so sorry about this, it's kinda ages me. This really ages me. Sa MDRT, ang speaker, pare John Savage, okay? Si John Savage namatay noong 90s pa lang, namatay na yun. Pero ganito yung explanation niya sa MDRT, which for me is an eye-opening experience. Sabi niya, I give you 2 cans, okay? One can gives you 25% net rate of return. Net, 25%. Okay? But the lid is open. Yung can lid is open. You can get money in and money out anytime. Yung isang lata, okay? 8%. 8% yield. Pero nakasarado yung lata. Pwede ka lang maglagay ng pera sa loob, wala kang pwedeng kunin. Matatanggal mo lang yung lid at age 65. Tapos tinanong niya yung buong crowd. Sabi niya, be honest with me. By the time these 2 gentlemen reach age 65, sino yung mas maraming pera? Be honest with me. Di ba? Honestly, syempre itong nakasara eh. Dahil bawasan ito, kahit 25% ito, lagay, kuha, anong mangyayari? Walang matira eh. Yun naman ang reality. BTID, I agree with all the things that are mentioned by a lot of people, but ang problema ko sa BTID ito execution. Execution.
And you always say they have a bias for execution.
Exactly.
And you choose a strategy that will works best for you. Kasi nga, di ba, they BT, they don't ID. Yun yung nagiging problema, di ba? Marami nagpo-push na BTID, pag nakausap mo, halos hindi nag-i-invest. Bumili lang ng minsan ng mutual fund, di na nadagdagan. Naglagay ng 5,000, then after 2 years, naglagay ulit. So, paano lalaki yun? So, I guess, at the end of the day, guys, you just have to be careful. Ang sabi ko nga, don't goad yourself, don't go into that argument. What is important is you do what is best for your client. So, educate, and chances are, and experience-wise, even those who are saying BTID, they end up buying VUL later on, or they have combination. Like kami, mga combination din kami. So, walang perfect strategy. Right? Parting words mo, Boss Rex, before, this crowd. I want you to commission this crowd, to go out there, to really rally people. Patapos na ang taon, a lot of us are still not hitting our targets. Although hindi naman po kami ni Boss Rex ang mga boss at amo nyo, pero alam mo yon, we understand what you're going through. Not anymore. We understand what you're going through. Any last words for them?
I think that gets captured in what I said earlier. This industry, this financial services ecosystem will only do well when the people behind it are doing their jobs. So let's not use this pandemic as an excuse not to do our jobs and not to pursue our mission. Tuloy po yan eh. Kahit ano nangyayari dito sa environment natin, tuloy yung mission natin. And then it's our job to make sure that we're in front of whoever needs us. We're in front of someone who we can enlighten. So I wish all of you that kind of resilience, that kind of determination to do what needs to be done. in the end po, ako naniniwala ako, results will simply follow. Results will follow the kind of activity that you push in your everyday lives. So yun lang po. And then siguro, make good use of this time to also learn, expand, and grow yourself, what you know about your products and services, about the industry in general. To earn.
And maybe Rex, pwede ba pag-pray mo na lang sila? Last na natin, pag-pray mo lang.
Lord, thank you so much for all the blessings. Thank you so much for all the learnings, the nice relationships we have with each other. Thank you for the gift of our professions. Thank you for the gift that you give all of us, the chance to make a difference to others, the privilege to be of service to our fellow man. Lord, bigyan po ng lakas, bigyan mo ng tapang, lahat kami dito, lahat ng mga nangangailangan ng inspiration mo, ng motivation mo, para magawa po namin ang kailangan namin gawin. For the people who will be relying on us, for the people who will be banking on us, and for the people who we can help get to their path towards stability, prosperity, and abundance.
Amen.
This, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Boss Rex.